Welcome, one and all, to another Right Angle Lightning Round, brought to you by the members of BillWhittle.com. As longtime viewers of this show know, we usually go deep into one topic, but a lightning round is special. It's unique. It's different. Did I say special? Well, it is. That's right. I have picked stories, hand-picked stories for Bill and Scott. They have no idea what they are. I've got two of them for each of them, and I want their hottest, freshest takes, so I'm going to spring these stories on them, and we'll see what happens. Nobody has died yet, although I think there have been a few suicide threats. So here we go. Bill, we're starting with you this week. Oh, this one got me steamed. Most Portland riot suspects won't be prosecuted, U.S. attorney reveals. This is federal charges, by the way. The prosecutors in that office, the number of prosecutors that support the courthouse system, it said, isn't really set up to handle that many cases. So what we have here is prosecutors who just throw up their hands in the face of lawlessness. Does that sound about right?
Well, that's the cover story.
Yeah. What's the real story?
The real story is they don't want to arrest these people. These people are their agents. These are the people that are the agents that maintain a state of constant chaos and threat and constant reminder that the country's falling apart and it's impossible for the races to get along and all the rest of this stuff. You watch enough of these riots, you walk out into the world, you think, no, my God, am I going to get to my car? And the next thing you know, you're holding the door for a black guy or somebody's doing something like that for you, and you realize the whole thing is just essentially largely created from the media to maintain a sense of panic and a sense of outrage necessary to provide the draconian measures that they have to use in order to get the power that they could never win through elections. Any other questions for you?
Nope. I think that settles it. Well, actually, I am going to have another question for you, but first I'm going to go to Scott. Because that's how the lightning round works. All right.
Well, I could elaborate on the first one if you'd like.
Certainly.
No.
Okay, good. Scott, oh boy. DCist, which is a local Washington, D.C. sort of gossipy thing, reports an overheard item from our nation's capital. Somebody was heard saying, I guess I'm vaccinated, so I don't have to wear a mask outside, but I really don't want people to think I'm a Republican.
I'm not sure how they would do that. Does he have like a tattoo on his face because he's a former Republican with an elephant on his chin or something? Is there some way we would be able to see that? I
don't want that people to think of a guy like that as a Republican either.
How much self-revealing is going on in a statement like that?
A couple of things that occurred to me in this. When I saw the announcement, and they played it up big time on CNN, they're saying, this was last week, I think, and the president's going to make an announcement about or maybe the CDC is going to make an announcement, not the president. CDC is going to make an announcement about mask guidelines and stuff like that. And then they, drum roll, please. And it leads up to the moment where they say, you don't have to wear a mask outside. And I'm like, since when have we had to wear a mask outside?
Exactly.
Was that a thing? I didn't know we were supposed to be wearing masks outside. It was bad enough that I have 8 hours a day inside of a store where I work, so I have to wear a mask there. But now I've had both shots of the, I used to think it was the Pfizer, but I think it's actually the Moderna vaccine that I got. It tastes the same. But anyway, so I've got both of my shots for that. However, even though I'm probably even a more minimal threat to people than I previously was, if I walk into a store and just rip off my mask and go, just go about my business, I know that there'll be people looking at me thinking, oh, well, he's just trying to buck the rules. He doesn't care if anybody gets sick. And there's no like tag where you go, oh, I guess there are tags in some places, but I'm not wearing a badge that says, hey, I've been vaccinated, so shut your yap. So there's no way to telegraph that. So when I went to the home goods store, what do they call that with the big fix-up house stores? Home Lowe's or whatever it is. And I went in there and, I put the mask on, even though, again, probably not necessary for my safety or anybody else's, just because we're not yet through that time where everybody's taking them off. And people do get edgy. So I don't want to make people feel edgy in any situation. So I'm trying to be a nice guy. Anyway, I think that it is, it's not a completely irrational thing that overheard person, the anonymous overheard person, said, because frankly, President Trump and a lot of people who followed him last year made it almost a badge of honor to flout the rules. And so then it was this big battle between whether we should follow the rules or not. And Dr. Fauci's a liar and he's, everything's corrupt and all that kind of stuff. So for a Democrat to say that is not unreasonable. As a Republican, or at least former, we don't declare our party here in Texas, but I just think people just should be concerned about health and wellness and not politics as much as they are when it comes to your health and wellness.
Yeah, if Americans were all about following the rules, we'd have to open every one of these segments by curtsying to the Queen. No, thank you. Bill, back to you. A record 34% of all household income in the U.S. now comes from the government. Personal current transfer payments, which are essentially government-sourced income, such as unemployment benefits, welfare checks, and so on. In March, this number exploded to a mind-blowing $8.1 trillion annualized, which was not only double the $4.1 trillion from February, this is when the relief checks went out, but was also $5 trillion above the pre-COVID trend, where transfer receipts were approximately $3.2 trillion. Bill, what gets me is the same people promoting all of this spending are the same people who like to lecture us about sustainability. Do we have to listen to that stuff anymore?
Well, yes, the answer is yes, we have to listen to this stuff forever. That's why we're here. There are times when I think that, there are times when I'm convinced that we live in a post-money era, that money is no longer what we used to think it was. The spending will continue out of control. I think Joe Biden spent $6 trillion in his first 100 days. That's a pretty hefty sum, pretty hefty little hunk of cash. And I have continually asked myself why this continues without collapse. And the only answer I can come up with is that as long as the interest payments on the debt is being made, then this will continue until the entire federal budget is the interest payment on the debt. And sooner or later, you run out of elastic, even if you stitched a couple pieces of underwear together in order to get there. The whole... Look, if a third of Americans' primary source of income is coming from the government, that is a terrifying statistic because that means that those people their future is dependent on how they vote. That's not an accident. That's the entire idea. Now, if it turns out that a government with a coercive power tells you that you can no longer work in your job and that your job is closed, then I would like to think that those numbers are temporarily high because of the fact that a number of businesses have been closed down by government, for whether you think they should be or not. That's the fact of it. One of the things that's alarming as we come out of this is that I'm hearing more and more stories from small business owners that it's getting very hard to find people who want to come back to work because a significant number of people are getting paid enough money to stay at home. And when that happens, then the cart becomes unmanageable. That was Dinesh D'Souza's great analogy is that if you got 100 people, it makes up your population, and you've got 4 or 5 people that can't walk, well, you can put 5 people in a cart and have 95 people pull the cart, and that's not only okay, it's noble. You want to help people who can't help themselves, but when people are basically offering a spot on the cart or paying you to get on the cart, there comes a point when not only there are more people on the cart than there are people pulling the cart, there comes a point when you're an idiot to pull the cart. It's just not the smart play. And we are rapidly approaching that point, I fear.
Yeah, and they'll tell you you're immoral if you refuse to pull the cart anymore, no matter what kind of labor you're under.
Steve, I think you said this, but can I clarify was that big spike due primarily to the $1,400 checks that were going out to taxpayers?
It seems to be, yeah, but not entirely. We've also got extension of unemployment benefits, which plays right into what Bill was saying about people who just won't go back to work because they're getting all this extra money, so why bother?
When you're competing...
Most people are not like that, by the way. Most people are out of work and want to go back to work and will go back to work as soon as they can. But I have heard from a number of business owners that it's much harder than it used to be.
When you're competing in the wage market as an employer against a competitor who can print money It becomes, it's like, okay, how much do I have to offer you an hour to get you to come back? Well, I'll tell you what, Sugar Daddy over here is giving me.
Yeah. And the thing is, they don't even have to print the money anymore. They don't have to run the presses 24/7 and buy new presses. The Fed just conjures it up out of nowhere.
Move a decimal point over a couple places on a file. What difference does it make?
At this point? Scott, back to you. I couldn't decide whether to laugh or cry at this one. College students of color claim soap dispensers are proof of systemic racism. We're talking about the automatic soap dispensers that you wave your hands under in the public bathrooms, the restaurant bathrooms. One UCLA student claimed during a debate that these soap dispensers don't see her hands due to the dark pigment of her skin. Another student said that soap dispensers are racist because they force black and brown bodies to show their palms, the only light areas of their skin, in order to get the soap out. What they don't realize is that the soap dispensers work on motion, not light, and they suck for everybody. Everybody is doing this, trying to get the damn soap to come out. And Scott, I guess what I'm trying to say here is when we teach our kids to see everything through the lens of race, isn't this the result?
Well, and when you first said that, I immediately thought, first of all, it's not color related, it's motion related. Mm-hmm. Secondly, I can never get any soap out of a dispenser either.
I hate those things.
Look how bleached these hands are. Nothing. But it also reminds me, I think I saw this on TikTok, though, of what I think is the greatest use of one of these foam soap dispensers, and that is that somebody had cut out an image of a seagull and taped it onto the front of the dispenser.
So it was pooping soap.
Yes. That was awesome. Yeah, I think that there are some people who are literally so sensitized to everything. I mean, we used to be concerned that like violent video games were going to desensitize everybody. Now now everybody's overly sensitized to everything. So there are some people like that who are just overly sensitive to everything. They feel like the world's out to get them, and for one reason or another, that colors the way you see things. Forgive the expression. I think there are other people who are in the meme manufacturing business. And they want to find things like this because they're like, oh, I have a great idea. Let's pretend that soap dispensers don't see black hands, and then we'll make a thing about that on social media, and then everybody will circulate that because it'll immediately click with the sensitive people's ethos because they go, well, of course they don't work with black people because they're out to get us. And so, I want to get rid of it all. I don't mean just the racial division in this country. I mean the soap dispensers. I don't want any soap dispensers. I don't want anything I have to wave at to get it to perform. I don't want a toilet that explodes like a depth charge while I'm sitting on it. I don't want...
Where are you going to the bathroom, my friend?
Oh, I will tell you. I was in the Philadelphia International Airport one time, and I sat down. It's a long flight, and a man must unburden himself. And I sat down on this, and like 45 seconds into the bout, all of a sudden, boom, and this like splash up on the bottom of my thighs. And then like another 45 seconds later, boom, and it just kept going over and over. And that had the effect of making it much more difficult to do that which I had come to do. And so then I was like further trapped there because I couldn't get up because I had to do what I came to do, but I couldn't do what I came to do because everything was kind of cinched up. So in any case, all of this to say, no more of those things that you have to wave at or detect your motion in the bathroom. Nothing should be detecting your motion in the bathroom. We should turn on the faucet. We should wash our hands. We should dry them with a towel. We should throw the towel away. We should recycle that towel.
The toilet still tells that story too, by the way.
That's right. So here's how it went down. This guy shows up. I could tell he really has to go. He sits down. I give him like 30 seconds, maybe 45, and then
just to lure him in. Give him a false sense of comfort.
That's right.
Yeah. It's just a high pressure bidet. That's all.
Yes. That's what it was.
That'll wake you up in the morning. Or any other time. Folks, I saved the last one for me, and this is my favorite story that I have seen in, I can't even tell you how long. And you can find this video on YouTube. There's a short version. There's also like an hour-plus long version that's just amazing. But hundreds of parents in Vail, Arizona attended a school board meeting protesting mask mandates for schools. They wanted their local district to relax the mandate on their kids going to school. And the parents wouldn't leave the meeting. And there were tons of parents at this meeting. And the school board was trying to make them go away, which, by the way, they're not even allowed to do. They've got like a sunshine law. If parents want to attend, the parents can attend. So the school board members fled. And in their absence, the parents organized and right there elected a new board consisting of some of the parents who had come to protest, and this new board passed the new rule that they were there to get done. And this level of self-organization, this spirit of we can do this and we can do it in an orderly way that respects the rules and respects liberty, you know what you call that? America, baby. And that is your right angle on that, brought to you by the members of BillWhittle.com. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.